Welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast, the business school for dance studio owners. And now for your host, Clint Salter.
Hey there, dance studio owners. It's Clint Salter here from Studio Success Formula and the Dance Studio Owners Association. And thanks for joining us on today's podcast. Now, you've all experienced how hugely important marketing is in building, growing, and expanding your studio. So I know you are absolutely going to fall in love with today's guest, Jennifer Filzen. Not only is Jennifer a successful Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter, she also owns a studio. She's the founder of the go-to marketing company, Rockstar Marketing, and she's the author of How to Make Your Dance Business Profitable. And I'm sure a lot of you listening today are wanting to know the answer to that question. How do I make my dance studio more profitable? She knows the ins and outs of marketing for dance studios, and she has a real passion for helping her clients succeed in business. So welcome, Jennifer. Such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Clint. This is truly an honor, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Great. So I'd love for you to start by telling our audience of studio owners a bit about what you do today in your company to help, dance studio owners, business owners get more from their day and their life.
Okay. Well, there's so much to tell. There are several things that I do because I'm the type of person that I get bored doing one thing. So I have multiple entities that I own and operate, and it's just so much fun for me. The very first thing is my rockstar marketing business. I market for businesses in all industries, including dance studios, as well as auto repair and dentists and chiropractors and retail stores. You name it, I've done marketing for them by building websites for them. I also own the West Coast Swing Dance Company. My husband and I met in dance class, taking West Coast Swing classes 8 years ago, and then we ended up getting married in the ballroom that we met at in 2010, and today we have a thriving West Coast Swing community in Carmel, and it's just so much fun. So that is my passion. The marketing is in my DNA, but the dance business brings me joy. And then also, too, another thing that I have just started, I'm partnering up with a champion instructor that we have on our team. It's called the Dance Teacher Exchange. And it's a very new thing. And it's actually kind of a compliment to what you're teaching your students, Clint. It's an event that's going to be held in Carmel, California on January 9th, 2015, for any of your listeners who are interested. It's only $50 a person, and essentially it's a roundtable discussion with all different dance teachers of all genres to get together and share ideas about teaching techniques, business ideas, marketing ideas, etc. And of course, I'm going to be very proud to talk to them about what you're doing. And then the very last thing is, in answer to help all of these studio owners, become more profitable, I did write my book, How to Make Your Dance Business Profitable, and I interviewed various luminaries within the dance world. I interviewed club presidents. I have interviewed studio owners. I've interviewed dance DJs and all kinds of folks, and I got their advice about what they're doing and how they've grown, and it's very helpful, and the feedback has been wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great read. Let's start there, actually, because it is a great resource, and studio owners are always looking at ways that they can become more profitable. What were maybe 2 or 3 ideas, and we don't want you to give the whole book away, but what were some of the core ideas that kept coming up from these people that you interviewed?
Gotcha. Well, the first thing is start small and keep your expenses low, because when you're just starting out, if you go beyond what the cash is going to provide, then you're going to be facing financial ruin. And there's no need to start with a bang and then, die out. You want to make certain that you sustain it. So start small, start in a smaller studio, and just build and build and build before you go super big. And also, too, another thing that I have found is share your vision with your community and tap into, why are these people here? I find that, people come to dance studios for various reasons. And one thing that I personally have discovered is that people tend to come to me and stay with me when they are in some sort of life transition. Now, I have to tell you, in our West Coast Swing Dance community, we have older dance students. So I would say the majority of our students are baby boomers, people who are between the ages of 40 and 70. And they have always wanted to dance, but for whatever circumstance or reason, they have not been able to. And they've fantasized about dancing, and finally they've had some kind of shake-up in their life, like they've lost a spouse, they've recently divorced, they've moved into the area. And so they need something to take their mind off of the troubles. And so I really suggest that in spite of all the marketing, in spite of all the dance instruction, get to know the why for every single student that you have. Why are they here? Because when you can connect with them emotionally and they understand that dancing not only will keep them fit and bring joy, but it will also save their lives in some regard, especially if they're going through turmoil. And so just really connecting with them and talking to them and figuring out, why are you here and what motivates you? That will really help cater and conform your marketing strategy to finding these people.
Jennifer, can I ask you on that topic, because I think it's a really important one. What are some ways that our studio owners can get clear on the why of, our students? Do we do this during a pre-enrollment process? Like where would you actually put that? And I know it's like an ongoing thing as well, but I think it's important for our studio owners to get clear up front around, why are they coming in the studio? How do you do that?
I do it right off the bat. In fact, I often will get phone calls first before they even step foot into the studio, and they're inquiring, hey, I understand that you teach dance. What's this all about? And so I tell them our story of why we're here, and then I get their story. So, I say, well, my husband and I, we met in dance class and fell in love with it, and it's so much fun, and we can dance to any style of music with this dance, and this is why we're doing it, and we have such a beautiful community, and why are you here? And they'll tell me, well, I'm getting married, or they'll tell me their story, or my husband and I always wanted to do this, and finally the kids are out of the house, and now our son's wedding is coming up, and we want to look good. So, when we start that conversation, not only do I have the chance to really qualify them and find out where in my dance studio they would be best suited, but then also, too, I get to connect with them personally. And then that way, when they do walk through the door, I know to look for them, and I receive them with a really big hug and a welcome. Because as soon as they feel connected emotionally, they're going to come to you repeatedly. And when you know what their why is, and they know what your why is, it just fosters a beautiful friendship, as well as a welcoming, warm, friendly embrace of the community.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I totally agree with you there. And we teach in our programs the pre-enrollment process, and we kind of look at what the health clubs do, which is exactly what they do. When you go into a gym, they're going to say to you, well, why are you here? And people will say things like, I need to, I want to lose some weight for my wedding, or, we're going on a summer holiday and I want to be able to wear that bikini, whatever it might be. And so I think that is such an important point that you just brought up. So thanks for mentioning that to our audience, because I think a lot of the time we go, okay, come into class, do the class. How was the class? Okay, bye. A lot of people kind of run their enrollment process that way.
Right, and it's more than just the class. It really is. I mean, it's easy for business owners of studios to fall into that. It's like, I have to worry about my numbers. Okay, let's get my numbers in. Let's see how many people. But really, when you're treating people as a commodity, you aren't connecting with them. So when you actually say hello, look into their eyes, give them a warm handshake, can hug them, can interact with them, can answer their questions, that's when you're going to have your enrollment shoot up.
Yeah, I agree. Don't treat people as numbers. We know in studios that the main reason people leave their studio is not because of the training. The first reason they leave is because the customer service and the lack of community that's been built in the studio. You can't buy love and support. And I think at the end of the day, that's why people stay in your studio. It's a second family for most people.
So true. It's so true. And our community is very tight that way. I mean, I actually am sick right now. And one of our students brought me chicken soup over the weekend to make me feel better. I mean, you can't buy that. And that's just it's like so touching, that the community that surrounds you. I mean, my husband and I will go dance at a local pub that is on Cannery Row here in Monterey. And it has live music every single night. So when we're feeling up to it, we just hop in the car, drive down the hill, and go on over and dance. And what's really fun is because the Monterey Peninsula, we have Carmel, Pebble Beach, and Monterey. It's a huge tourist destination. It's one of the most beautiful places in the whole world. And we get a lot of people from all over the country, all over the world. And they see us dance and they go, wow, what is that you're doing? And how do I do it? And even if they're from Germany or Australia or London or Arkansas, we can tell them, all you have to do is just Google West Coast Swing, look it up in your own community, and we'll help you find people, and it's tremendous fun. So yeah, it's part of that. It's being outgoing enough inside and outside of your dance studio to connect with people, show them the beauty of your dance, whatever that is. I mean, even if you're doing ballet, it doesn't matter what it is. Someone's going to see you do it, and they're going to go, wow, and talk to them. Because if you act aloof or if you pretend you don't see them, well, then you just missed out on a huge opportunity.
Agree. Completely agree. Now, I want to change gears a bit, Jennifer, and I want to kind of dig into the marketing, because there's a lot of opportunities for dance studio owners now to market their business. And so back in the day when we used to do the flyer or the newspaper advert or the ad in the school newsletter, we didn't have many other options. But now we have so many options. We've got to think about online. And within online, there's about, I read an article the other day which was like 250 traffic sources to your website. And I'm like, oh my goodness, people don't need 250. No wonder why everyone's confused. I'd love to start by asking you, what are some of the mistakes you see studio owners making online when it comes to marketing their business?
Okay, good. There are a lot of mistakes, and they're small, so they can be corrected, but don't be one of these folks. The number one thing that I hear from studio owners, they forget to collect the emails of all the students that walk through their door. So it's very, 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 I cannot stress it enough, very important to collect the contact information, especially the emails of every single student, especially when they're brand new. Because that way, when you are sending out your newsletters or your various communication pieces, they can stay abreast. And of course, they can decide to unsubscribe later if they so choose. But you really need to make sure that you capture their contact information so you can reach out to them. Also, too, depending on your audience, make sure that you have their phone numbers and know a little bit about them, like where do they live and that kind of stuff. I have to confess, I have certain students in my cell phone when we have a certain dialogue, but I don't have every single student in my cell phone. But I will say that when I know that somebody is not online very often, for example, if I have an older student or someone who is in transition and they don't have access to a computer or something going on, I still have their phone number. So if I hear of something that they need to be aware of, I will indeed call them. So emails are convenient, but the phone also works. And then that also shows that you have that heart-to-heart, I care about you mentality. Another thing, too, is another mistake is I've seen dancers not interacting with other dancers online. Fortunately, with Facebook has really helped dancers in so many ways. There are so many groups that dance studio owners and club members and just casual dancers and performers, all kinds of folks can connect online via Facebook, and they can look up, whatever genre it is. You can do a search in Facebook for salsa, or a search for West Coast Swing, or a search for ballet, and find the different groups around the country. Like, here's an example. my husband and I recently went to Florida because I'm originally from Florida. And so we decided to look up the local West Coast swing community. And so we decided to connect with the Jacksonville, Florida Westies. And so we connected with them. And so we just went and visited them, and they were so gracious in opening up their arms, and they didn't have a venue or an event for us, but guess what? They threw us a house party. So they invited us to their house with like 20 other dancers, and we're dancing in their living room.
I love that.
Which is so awesome, right? Because we connected online, and when they know that you are coming from the same genre, from the same experiences, from the same heart, from the same network, then they open their arms and just totally welcome you. So make sure that you interact with other dancers online. And here's another way to do it. Another mistake, but also too, it kind of dovetails with it. Not establishing yourself as an authority in dance. So where I'm going with this is when you interact with people online, while you're doing it, go ahead and publish things or post things that are entertaining, educational, or enlightening. So sometimes I will find a cute little quote about being a dance teacher and why it fills my heart with joy. And I'll put that quote on there on Facebook, and I'll make sure I share it with the different dance groups. And I get all kinds of likes, and people will share it. And then if I have a video of something that we've done in class or celebrating some kind of event that we did or something, I post that. And, or if I find an article that is maybe I didn't write, but I think it's very good, then I share that. And so I'll have my own articles too. But where I'm going with this is that I tend to craft a persona on Facebook that is dance related, showing that I'm deep into this wonderful, beautiful art form, and that here's some helpful information to share. And feel free to share it amongst yourselves. And by the way, I'm having my own events. Come and find me. So people know I'm an authority, and I've found that a lot of dancers, even though we have an ego that will allow us to perform on stage, I've also seen them be quite shy about self-promotion. So when you share interesting things that educate, entertain, and enlighten, you will therefore become that authority. And people will go, hey, I'm going to call so-and-so because I saw this really great post and I want to connect and I want to take classes from that person.
So important. So important. And you know what? The thing is that, we talk about this a lot as well, content, engaging with communities, for dance studio owners to be getting into those, mums and bubs groups in your local community and give lots of value. It's not about posting every day, come to a free trial, which some people going with that strategy. Guys, if that's you, please stop doing that. You want to make sure that you're giving massive value first, but then you are building that, you're kind of accelerating that trust and credibility process and adding value to people so that when they are looking at a dance studio or someone asks about a dance studio, you are top of mind.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I love it. We're so on the same page. I love this, Jennifer.
I know. I'm having so much fun.
It's awesome. That's what we're about. Definitely. You talked before the call with me a little bit about search optimization, and that's something that you offer with your services. We often see in our association people saying, "How do I get to the top of Google?" And I'm sure you get asked that question a lot as well, right?
Right. It happens all the time. I want to get to the top, and it's getting more and more difficult to get to the top.
Yeah. So what is the process of getting to the top? And also, is that our objective? Like what should we be thinking about when we're thinking about SEO, search engine optimization?
Oh, good question. Oh my goodness. I have to warn you, the answers to this may lead to a full hour just by itself, but I'll try to make it brief. We've kind of touched upon it before, but really it's important for you, before you start doing anything, really think about what you want your website to look like. And really the website needs to tell your story. In every single page, it needs to carry your voice, and they need to know clearly, this is what I believe in, This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. So when you tell your story, that's the first thing. And then you need to look at what keywords are people going to most likely type into Google when they're trying to find someone like me. Okay, for using West Coast Swing Dance Company as my example, I have West Coast Swing, Carmel, West Coast Swing, Monterey, West Coast Swing, Pebble Beach, West Coast Swing, Santa Cruz. I mean, that you want to do geolocations for the area that you serve and main thing. But then also, too, it's like, okay, are you selling dance shoes? Dance shoes, your city. Because when people are typing things in, they're not just going to say dance. Because if they type in dance, then it's going to bring up dance for everything. You're going to get Dancing with the Stars, so you think you can dance. You're going to get everything related to dance. So people tend to be more specific, and they look for the cities that they want to go to. For example, Jacksonville, West Coast Swing. Well, that's how I found this group. So make sure that you have your locations in there. And so when you're creating your content, put in, like, for example, this is a discussion we can go into for hours. But when I create a web page, I need it to be 100% original. First off, I'm not going to be cutting and pasting from some other person's website. That is a no-no. That will get you marked down by the Google search bots. It needs to be original content. So it needs to have your story. It needs to talk about your location, where you are, who you serve. And each page needs to be very specific to that one particular topic. If you have every single topic listed on one page, it gets really muddy and it's harder for people to find you. So take that particular topic. Let's just use dance shoes. Okay, let's say you have a studio, you're selling some dance shoes on the side. Talk about the different dance shoes and use the word dance shoes. Dance shoes, salsa, West Coast Swing dance shoes, ballet shoes, tap shoes, the sizes that are available, the styles that are available for men or for women. You need to talk about those shoes and have that in the page or pages of that particular area. And then, when you want to talk about, your particular dance, talk about that particular dance. Let's talk about ballet, okay? These are the classes that we're offering. These are the techniques that we teach. These are the accolades that we've received. Make it really specific to that topic. But if anything, if you don't remember anything I've told you, the number one thing to remember is be original with your content. Do not ever copy and paste from some other person's website and put it on there, because you will never climb to the top of the Google search engines. So there it is in a nutshell. That's
great advice. What would you say, Jennifer, for those studio owners and this came up last week actually in our group. Someone said, I want to start a blog and I want to put more content on my website, but I'm not a writer. I don't write, Clint. What do I do? What advice would you give to someone that's in that boat?
Oh, well, honestly, don't worry about it if you're not a strong writer, because as you know, with dance, with practice comes improvement, right? Quite frankly, I wouldn't say that I am the strongest writer, but because I have crafted a profession around promoting others and writing about them, I've become a stronger writer. I mean, if you could see my master's thesis and how icky it is compared to what I do now, but you have to start from somewhere. And so go ahead and write your blog. And you know what? If you aren't perfect, so what? That actually connects people with you even more closely emotionally, because you're speaking your mind, you're telling them your thoughts, you're giving them advice, you're being you, you're being authentic and genuine. And yes, please run it through, Grammarly.com, which is an app. If you want to do that, make sure you run it through, your Word document and do the automatic spell check stuff, because if it's too riddled with typos, it'll be distracting. But don't worry about it if you end the sentence with a preposition sound like you when you're writing. You'll find your audience through that.
I agree. And look, there's so many services out there. where you can get a copywriter or an editor just to quickly go over it and, fix up the grammar. So, you can jump onto Upwork or Fiverr or any of those outsourcing websites where someone can help you, make sure that there aren't any kind of huge spelling mistakes or really poor grammar throughout. So I think it's not very difficult these days. And you're right. Practice. I remember 3-4 years ago when I started writing, it was one of those, I wanted to put the pencil through my eye because I just didn't like it whatsoever. And now I love it. I absolutely love it. And so I gave that example in our group the other day, and I was like, you know what? It's one of those things that takes practice. You're not just going to wake up and be an amazing writer.
Exactly. And also, too, when you write your blog, you're establishing yourself as an authority in your world. And guess what? If you write enough blogs, you already have created your first book. So it's phenomenal how you're creating something out of nothing, and you're connecting with people emotionally. You're telling your story. You're attracting people, and that writing that you start, as ugly as you feel it is when you begin, as you evolve and as you reach a certain tipping point where you have amassed, 100 blogs. You've built multiple things, then suddenly you're the authority, and now people are going to be inviting you to their large events, to their trainings, to their various productions where they're like, oh, she's an expert, he's an expert. Let's talk to that person. And you can then look over this wealth of information that you've created and say, oh, yep, I know how to address that. I've already written about it.
Yeah, totally. Jennifer, I want to, because kind of one of the things that you do and you do really well is web design. And we kind of talked about, you mentioned when we talked about SEO, what, you need to first look at your website. I mean, what do we need to have on our website as a dance studio? Like, what are the things that are super important that are like the non-negotiables that we should have on a website?
Okay. Very first thing I look for in a website is a clean layout. I need it to be easy to read and easy to navigate. If it is too messy, if it looks like it was made in the 1990s, it's going to turn me off. And if it turns me off, chances are very high that it's going to turn other people off because it needs to look current. Another thing that's extremely important now is it also needs to be mobile ready, because the majority of people are looking for you on their mobile devices. And if you don't have a website that is mobile friendly, you're going to not only not comply with Google's new rules, but also, too, people just, have you ever, I'm sure you've seen it, you go on a person's website, and it's that huge website is trying to fit on your tiny little screen, and then you have to expand the screen and try to hunt for this thing. It's such a pain in the butt, right? And so having a mobile ready site is really key. Also, too, I've touched on it before. I know I'm hammering it in there, but to have credible, original content. Tell your story. Also, make sure that your calendar of events and location information is updated. I'm guilty of this too. Sometimes an event will go by and it might be a couple days before I remove that event and then promote the next event. In fact, this morning I was like, honey, did we update our event to show our upcoming holiday party? He's like, oh, I'll do that tonight. So, you got to make sure that everything is current, because you never know who's looking at your website nor when. And your website is your 24/7 salesperson. So that website needs to have current data. And the other thing, too, that I have found to be very, very helpful is when you include videos of your classes, your events, your community, when you tie in your social media channels to your website and people can see the live stream of, oh, look, they just had a little contest, or, oh, here are the winners of those contests, or, oh, look at this dance, or, oh, look at that recital. The videos, the content, the current information, and the clean, easy-to-read outlook of the website is really going to impactfully, send people to your studio, and that's what you want.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. What about collecting, people's details from your website? What are your thoughts on offering free trial classes or, a free guide to, get people into your enrollment funnel. Talk to us a bit about that.
Free is good. It needs to be controlled, though, because if you give too much free, then you might find yourself facing a hard time. So what we've done in the past is we have had business cards that have a free pass on the back. So imagine a two-sided business card. The business card on the front states my contact information and website information and location information. And then on the back, it says free pass when presented. And then it states the one class that is free, because not all of our classes are free. Free classes really are, for us, are going toward rote beginners. And the first time is free, and that's usually a $10 value. But then also, too, we want them to sign up for the month, or we want them to come back. We don't want it to just be, hey, here's a free something to do. We want to actually have them join us. But that's why the big hugs and the welcoming them when they come in is part of that. So free is good. Also, too, here's another thought for free, especially considering that in our dance, it's a partner dance. It's not necessarily where you're a solo performer. So one thing that we've done that is free is we have two classes, and then we have a dance party. The first class is our open level class, which is people who are already familiar with West Coast swing. They might be an advanced beginner, so to speak. They also might be a very higher level, intermediate, or advanced dancer. And so those people, they come, they pay their $10, and then we teach them a fairly difficult move of that week. But then the next class is our beginning class, and we invite all the people who were at the open class to stay for free in the beginning class, and they get to attend. They learn a little bit of extra technique, but they're also serving as taxi dancers. And what I mean by that is they are a friendly person who knows their stuff, so when they're with a beginner and the beginner is dancing with them, they go, oh, supposed to feel like, because when you have a bunch of beginners working with each other, it's kind of tough. But when you have someone who is more advanced dancing with you, it's easier to feel like you're progressing. And so free is wonderful. Also, too, we'll do like little raffles. Like when we had our 5th year anniversary party, we did a little raffle, and the winner receives a full month of free classes. Various things. Sometimes when we have a potluck dance party, anybody who's brought a covered dish to share, they'll get a discount or they'll get a free pass to the next social dance. I mean, there's so many different ways to play it. You can also do an open house. I mean, there's the ideas are endless, but make sure that it's controlled and make sure that your expenses are going to be covered. So put some thought into it before you give a lot of free.
Yeah. I think that's, again, great advice there. Jennifer, I want to wrap up, and I want to ask you, if you were down to your last $200 and you had to market your dance studio, what would you put that $200 towards?
Well, actually, we just talked about it. I would actually put those business cards together. If I had only $200, I would put those free business cards / intro passes together. And one thing that I would do is I would include a blank space, and it would say referred by, and then the blank space. And I would hand it out to every single person that dances with me, that knows me, and I would have them write their name on there for two purposes. One, I want to track who are the people that are passing these cards out for me. And then also, two, award them a prize if they get a student in there. So it doesn't cost much to, in fact, gosh, you can still get ahead and you won't even be spending your full $200 for business cards. But you get those free passes, and then you hand them out to everybody. And then it doesn't really cost you anything extra when, let's just say you had 3 people show up for that free class and they've gone ahead and enrolled for the month. If they've gone ahead and enrolled for the month, you take that person's business card and with their name that was written down as the referrer, and then you do a prize, and then they get something, whether it be maybe a half-hour private lesson or maybe some something that is of value, because when people know that they're being rewarded for telling the world about you, then it's going to help nurture that. Also, too, there are several things you can do for free if you don't have, let's just say you spent the first $75 on business cards. You can get on the Facebook and join all those different dance groups for free. You can write a blog for free. There's so many things you can do for free. You could take that $200 and put it as the local ad in the newspaper. That probably would cost the full $200. But personally, this is in my community only. I can't speak for everybody, but I far prefer spending that $200 on the business cards and flyers and promoting from within than on a newspaper ad, because I have not found personally that the newspaper ads in my area give me quite the return that I want.
No, I agree with you there. And guys, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while or following anything that we do, you know that I'm definitely not a fan of the newspaper advert.
There you go. Okay.
I say that over and over again these days. I mean, back in the, I started my studio when I was 16, and that's the main way we got new students through the door was, at the beginning of the season, there would be a dance feature, which would be really popular. And that's where all the parents were looking, to get their kids into dance. But these days, you've got to be where your audience are. And are they inside their local newspapers anymore? Well, no, they're online, because that's where they can get the information the fastest.
Exactly. And it's happening for so many other things other than dance. I mean, really, I've promoted other events, a Women in Discovery event that I have. It's a women's weekend retreat. I was talked into, just put an ad in. I was like, okay, I'll try it. No, it didn't work. And I mean, nothing against the newspapers, but really their reach is so limited compared to what you can do online. I can reach people internationally when I'm on the social media channels, but when I'm on a newspaper, it's a very small target audience, and I need it to be bigger than that. And I really need to spend my time where the people are, exactly like you said, hang out where they're hanging out, and that's usually online. So make sure that you're well represented online.
Yeah, agree. Look, so good, so great chatting with you, Jennifer. Just to leave our studio owners with a couple of golden nuggets, what do you think? What are your 3 top tips for success?
3 top tips. Okay, let's see. Start small and don't overextend yourself. Take your passion, take your vision, and work with the existing community. And from that, you'll build a community. And I really mean that. Build your community, and that community will help you grow and get bigger. Similarly, keep those expenses low. I know it's exciting when you have a studio to decorate it to the nines. I know it's exciting to get the expensive costumes. I know it's so exciting to have a whole closet full of dance shoes. But try to
I don't know about that.
Low.
Look, I don't know how exciting. I don't know how exciting a room full of costumes are for lots of our studios. I see a lot of conversations of people wanting to, how do we get rid of all these costumes, Clint?
But you know what I mean? It's like it can be intoxicating when you're being shown all these options of, you could have this, you could promote this, but really make certain that you start small and keep your expenses low. I mean, for example, food. Okay, if you have a dance party, it can get expensive if you have a caterer. Why not just go ahead and have everyone who's part of your community do a potluck? And then that way, you know that they're going to eat the food because they brought it, so nothing's going to go to waste. And people love sharing. Also, too, here's another thought. When you share your vision with your community and you get them excited about what you're doing, they're going to get excited about supporting you. So I want you guys to remember to be open to receiving. And here's what I'm talking about. This is a little side story, but I think it's so much fun, and it really shows that sometimes as studio owners, we want to do our thing and we want to prove that we can do something and we don't ask for help and we can do this ourselves. But when you're open to receiving, you are going to experience some amazing things that you never even considered that would grow your business. Here's an example. So we have a couple that takes private lessons from us. They are in their 50s, early 60s, and they actually own a business here in Monterey called Monterey Cabinet and Woodworking. They're a nice couple. They've been married for 30 years. They're kind of shy. They saw us dance at a local venue, and they decided that they wanted to dance. So they're quiet and hardworking type of individuals. And about a year ago, they came over to our house for private lessons because we wanted to save money on studio expenses. And so we knew that if we rented out a place, then of course we'd have floor fees. So we thought, well, let's do it in our garage. And our garage, we would joke about it. It's a glamorous garage. It's nothing glamorous about it. It's ugly. It's where I park the car. It's a concrete floor. And they said, you need a dance floor in here. I said, oh, tell me about it. But we're renters, and my dream is to have a house with a ballroom in it. But at this time, I don't have those resources. And they looked, and they measured, and they said, you know what? We can build a dance floor for your garage. And I said, what? I didn't expect that this would happen, but I was like, really? And they're like talking about it. They're like, we just have to figure out how you can still park your car on it, or how we'd have it still be usable as a garage. So months went by, and they were talking, and they'd come over and they'd measure and they'd talk about it. And I'd be like, well, how much is this going to cost me? They're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And so a few months later, they deliver this beautiful 500-pound, 17-foot by 7-foot hardwood dance floor, and they take 6 people and a lot of grunting, and they move this thing into the garage, and it is perfectly designed for my car to park on top of it, so long as I lay big cardboard, flat cardboard pieces across it and a catch pan, so the condensation from the air conditioning and the oil won't stain. So anyway, so our dance floor arrives, and it's kind of like getting a boob job. Now you got to get a tummy tuck and an eye lift because, like, the rest of the garage looks so ugly, right? So I've got this gorgeous dance floor in this ugly garage, and I'm still calling it the glamorous garage. And I said, "Oh my gosh, now I need to do something." And they said, "Well, how about if we float the walls for you?" And I said, "What do you mean float the walls? I don't know what that means." He goes, "Well, we'll just put some plaster over the drywall and make it look nicer." I said, "Okay." So now we've been adopted for this project. And I'm like, again, how much is this going to cost me? And they're like, how about 3 dance lessons? I'm like, okay, fine, 3 dance lessons. That's easy. How about if I give you 4 dance lessons because you're doing so much for me? And they're like, okay, fine. So then they send in somebody to float the walls, and the walls are now gorgeously plastered, and all we have to do is paint them. And so then I called them back, and I've got these ugly, ugly cabinets. And I said, okay, tell me what you want me to do. Do you want us to paint over the cabinets? What would you like us to do with this? Because this is your project management thing. I'm just doing the work. So you tell me what you want. And he looks at it, and he goes, we're going to build you new cabinets. I have to tell you, I have gorgeous red mahogany cabinets that were kind of leftover material from a $1 million renovation here in Carmel. I can tell you that my garage is the most beautiful room in my house, and it cost me paint and time. And so for this couple, as far as I'm concerned, they have free dance lessons for the rest of their lives if they wish. And I also allow them to come to classes for free. So, but you know what? They've done so much. So this is a silly little story, but be open to receiving, because you never know what your community will bless you with. And when they bless you, it just makes them feel good. It makes you feel good. And guess what? Now we can make money not only at our dance studio, but at our house without any additional blood, sweat, and tears. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. Look, Jennifer, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Really, really appreciate the time and all the wisdom and tips and strategies that you shared with our studio owners. Where can they go for more information about you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, get out your pencils and pens.
We'll put the addresses, the website addresses, the social media links in the show notes as well. So just head to our website, studiosuccessformula.com, for more info. But go, Jennifer, tell us where to go.
Okay. Well, for marketing assistance, you're of course welcome to go to my website, Rockstar Marketing. But you know what? Here's the deal. If you want me to consult with you, I do the first hour of consultation for free, not a problem. You're welcome to call me directly. I'm going to give you my cell phone number right now. It's area code 408-833-9868. And you're welcome to call me. I'll be happy to consult. Also, too, you're welcome to reach out to me via email, jenniferfilzen@gmail.com. That's JENNIFER. F as in Fred, I-L, Z as in zebra, E-N as in Nancy, jenniferfilzen@gmail.com. Also, too, if you want to check out what we've done for our own dance studio, the West Coast Swing Dance Company, feel free to visit that website, wcsdanceco.com. If you'd like to attend our Dance Teacher Exchange, feel free to look that up, danceteacherexchange.org. Also, too, if you would like to purchase my book, it would be a really nice compliment to what you're learning from Clint already. So feel free to find it on Amazon or Sellfy. But here's the funny thing. I was looking on Amazon to get the link for the paperback book, and they have ridiculously inflated the price. The price is supposed to be $15.99 US. But they have elevated it to where you can purchase the book for something in the $40 range or even the $800 range, which is kind of ridiculous. So here's a way to save. You're welcome to go to Sellfy for the online download. It's only $4.99. Or you're welcome to contact me directly via phone or email, and I'll send you an autographed copy of the book for just $15.99 plus shipping. I mean, I think it's really cool that my book is selling on Amazon for higher than I originally said it, but that's not necessary. Save yourself some money and just contact me directly.
Awesome. Look, Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing that. Like I said, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and just appreciate your time, and so many great resources there, guys, for you to start kind of really working and growing on your studio, especially when it comes to the marketing. So I hope you've taken lots of notes, but more importantly, we know that ideas are cheap, and the real benefit is where you actually implement what you learn. So please take away at least one idea from today's interview with Jennifer and start putting it into practice in your studio. Thanks again, Jennifer, and we'll talk to you really soon.
Thank you so very much, Clint. I appreciate it.
Are you enjoying the Studio Success Formula podcast? Then we'd love for you to share the love. We want to help more dance studio owners become go-to studios, so we'd greatly appreciate you writing us a review on iTunes. For taking the time out to do so, every month, Clint will be selecting one lucky dance studio owner to receive a Power Business Coaching session. Simply visit the iTunes store today, search for Studio Success Formula, click on ratings and reviews, and then write your review. Thanks in advance. Take care, and we'll see you next time.